so wasted on me, isn't it? Is it nice, though, to have your life back? Because you started when you were 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah, tennis professionally.
At 14?
Like, yes.
But really seriously from the age of 5?
6 hours a day, there you go. Yeah.
But there was a lot of pressure on you at 5.
Yeah, and I moved to America from Russia. You know, I was born in Soviet Union, and I felt like because of me, my whole family moved to a different continent.
Yeah.
And so I was supporting everybody, basically, which back then, I mean, I still had so much fun on the court, but looking back at it now, I mean, I would never do that to my kid.
You know, you're playing tennis at the level you were. Was there a kind of jealousy amongst the other female players that you were the one then who got the endorsements, the advertising deals,
the
money,
yeah.
essentially?
Yeah.
Was there a jealousy?
I mean, I never really felt it personally, but look, at the end of the day, when there's 128 girls in one locker room, there's bound to be something going on, right? I mean, 128 women in one locker room. Can you imagine them getting along?
2023, World Cup, Australia, New Zealand. There you're off. Are you the ones to beat, presumably?
I suppose so. I think there's a few other teams as well, but you win something, then you have a target on your back.
Because when was the ban on women's football lifted?
1971, I think.
That is
72.
nuts, isn't it? So before that, I mean, obviously, little girls kick a ball in a garden, but they couldn't play league or anything like that.
It was...
Forgive my ignorance, a ban on women playing football?
Yeah, so during the war, First World War, the women started playing and they were really, really successful.
What, didn't they have as many spectators as the men's teams?
100,000 people. Yeah, Dick Her Ladies. Incredible.
What happened?
Yeah, so basically when the men got back, would we call it jealousy? Or they were a little bit threatened that maybe the women's would be such a success, so the FA decided to ban it. Ban it, and 50 years it was in place.
That's amazing.
You should make a movie about it.
Yeah, but I'd have to play a very old coach.
Obviously, the female boxing is new to most of us. It's new. I didn't realise that it was actually banned in this country till, was it 1996?
Yeah.
But why did they ban it? Did something bad happen?
Oh, well... See, the story is women are actually too unstable when we have the menstrual cycle, apparently, for boxing.
Wow. Because Mike Tyson, steady. See, so steady. I mean, hold this baby, Mike. Well, seriously. So MPs banned females from boxing because it would be too erratic and crazy.
Yeah.
Have you found that to be true?
I don't know.
I like my face where it is, please.
You know, because now it's lovely, I think, and you must... Is this in your mind, that you are opening doors for young girls who had no inspiration, who had no one to inspire them to? You're there for them now.
Yeah, it's really good. I love going to schools and inspiring the girls and the boys as well to get involved in boxing. But I think it's nice for me as well to have... when I was younger...
Because how old were you when you started?
I was 12.
OK.
So my inspiration was Muhammad Ali. You know, I saw the reruns of him going to the Olympics, winning a gold medal, then turning pro and becoming a world champion. So he was my inspiration, but there was no female boxers for me to look up to. So I guess now the girls will have female boxers to look up to as well.
Yeah. Medal. Oh. Look how... See, we're so excited. It's an Olympic medal.
Yeah. I know they left it in the dressing room.
Oh. Yeah. Can I see it? How heavy?
Heavy.
Oh, that is heavy.
That's amazing, isn't it? I think you should say they asked you to bring it. You don't carry that around with you all the time.
Every cab you get in. Can I see the medal? But can I just say, because that's just the same medal that everyone... I mean, gold medal that everyone... If you win something, you get a gold medal.
Yeah, not everyone.
No.
We're all winners.
Yeah.
We're all winners.
No, I just got to think, because you did 7 events. You know, if you run 100 metres and win, you get that. You did 7 events. It took you 2 days. I think they should amalgamate them and give you, like, a big gold bin lid or something. It should be bigger for 7 events.
Well, it's pretty big, but...
I feel cheated on your behalf. Yeah, cheated.
You're one of the only people I think I've ever met who's not impressed by a gold medal.
Everyone gets one of them. Everyone. They hand them out when you walk through.
I hadn't realised, you know, obviously you were a ballet dancer, you were in ballets, but you've done so much commercial work over the years. Like, there's an extraordinary ad. Does anyone remember that ad for American Express? I mean,
Really difficult. Well, no, only because all the props. Because obviously nowadays you would just stick them all on, wouldn't you? You wouldn't have to.
Photoshop
we had
it
to.
on, yeah.
Photoshop them on. We actually had to on a trampoline. I had to do this like 100 times, so it didn't kill my legs, so that I could work the next day. But it was the raincoat, the umbrella. So you know when it suddenly went over your head, and all these issues constantly going wrong. So that's what's important.
yeah, because you look at some of these pictures, and it's so beautiful. I mean, there's no trampoline here. This is you in Swan Lake.
Yeah, that's when I first did Swan Lake when I was about 20. Yes.
I mean, amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And we were saying in photographs, it looks so graceful and beautiful.
Yeah,
but
but
of
you
course,
always have to make it effortless.
but it
That's
is
the idea.
such a demanding, grueling
No, it's tough.
occupation. Like, tell us about the time. I think were you in Israel with the heat?
Yes, well, yeah, just working. Well, we rarely perform outdoors, but in Israel it was amazing. We were there on tour, and it was so hot that we weren't allowed. We couldn't basically rehearse when the sun was up. We had to wait until the sun went down because the lino that we perform on melts in the heat. And also our point shoes start to melt. So even in the show, it was such a hot night. And my point shoes before the 32 Fouettes, famous thing in the Black Act of Swan Lake, they literally were just melting with the heat. And you're literally on your knuckles trying to get through 32 times.
Oh, I mean...
Yeah, it sounds gruesome, but it was okay.
But are people just watching you bleed and going, oh, it's very good? Sounds ghastly.
No. I mean, a lot of it is the pressure we put on ourselves, and you know, there's a lot. It's a 3.5-hour ballet, so it's a lot of work to go ahead. And we had another act after that, and I was just panicking that my shoes weren't going to make it. So yeah.
When did you discover you're this amazing cyclist?
So I actually fell into cycling by accident. So I got ill in 2014, and so I had a stroke and then was diagnosed with MS. And after the MS diagnosis, I had really bad balance, and every time I tried to run, I'd fall over. But I still wanted to be in with the athletes and the scholarship gym. So I sat on a watt bike, and it's a really sad story actually. There was a girl who was trying to transfer from swimming into cycling, and she said, "Oh, I've got the number for this. You know, the woman that leads the cycling, can get you in." So she gave me the number. I'm now a cyclist. She's no longer in sport.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's changed channels the minute she saw it.
I was like, I'm so sorry, I just kind of stole your spot. But yeah. So I just kind of, it was because I couldn't run. So sitting on a bike was easier at that point. And yeah, I literally did one testing session, and the physiologist said to my head coach, you've got to get her on the team. So we did. And a year later, I was world champion.
I know. Maybe everyone knew this. I didn't realise how serious you were about being a jockey. I mean, you were a proper jockey.
Well, I was an amateur jockey, yeah, for a couple... what you mean is I look quite heavy to be a jockey, and you're right. You're right.
To be a jockey.
Well, yes, and heavy. But I won the amateur championship, and I won my weight in champagne.
It is a different world, because you're racing against people like Princess Anne.
Yes, Princess Anne was sort of riding on the amateur race circuit at the same time I was, and I was sort of 18, 19, and Princess Anne was a little bit older. And we rode against each other in a race at Beverley, and I managed to carve her up. Wow. Without realising, I literally went, my horse, he decided to do it, but he jumped the path.
That's
and he
your
went,
story,
yeah,
obviously.
he went across that's what I told her.
But she was properly cross, wasn't she?
She was properly cross. Well, I'm fair dues, actually, because I cut her up on the bend, and then we had about another mile to race, and then really...
And you were going, screw you!
I really didn't realise it was her, but I could hear a lot of chat behind me and quite a lot of swearing. And then when we came into the straight, there was sort of 5 horses crossed the line together, a proper blanket finish. And as I'm pulling up, I'm thinking, I think I've just won that. But I didn't realise until I came back, and my mother was absolutely pale as anything. And she looked at me and she said, "Do you know what you've done?" I said, "Yeah, I think I've won." She said, "No, you've carved up Princess Anne." And Princess Anne finished second and Dead Heat for second. So then I was absolutely terrified to go back into the changing room. It was slightly unnerving because obviously all the girls had got in there before I had, so they were in various states of undress.
So it's such an amazing image. Princess Anne with a towel going, "Where's Balding?"
I'm going to give her hell. So it was a little frosty because, you know...
And have you made peace?
Well, I hope so. Well, I mean, I see Zara Phillips a lot.
Why she didn't get the OB.
It all makes sense now!
It'll never happen.
Oh, it's payback time!
She will never get it.
Never. Line through it. Big cross like that. Off the lid.
No. So do you think your success will ever be kind of bettered or emulated by anybody else? I mean...
Well, it's all relative anyway, and subjective. It depends what criteria you want to use. But is anybody going to win as many tournaments as I have? No.
Because it was 8... Hey,
if it's truth, it ain't bragging, right?
18 Grand Slam singles, 41 doubles?
Doubles, but it's the total titles. Steffi Graf, I think, is over like 100 and something, 105 maybe. Chris Evert is 157, and I'm 167. And there's nobody in triple digits, so nobody's going to play that much, you know?
Which you must be very proud of.
Well, it just means I did something pretty well for a long time. I mean, I played for a long, long time, and I don't think anybody's going to last as long because they get worn out a little bit quicker now physically. They just cannot last as long because they play on much harder surfaces with hit the ball much harder. Everything is more difficult, so harder balls.
Brendan said that, not me. And,
to.
Do you watch tennis now and kind of think,
of course,
could beat them?
Well, it's a different game now. I mean, we played with wooden rackets on natural surfaces with gut. Now they're playing on hard courts with artificial gut and metal rackets, so the body just doesn't last as long, but they hit the ball a lot harder. So, you know, like I said, nobody's going to last as long. And but they're also big now. My goodness, I was one of the tallest players on the tour, other than maybe Pam Shriver. Everybody was shorter. I'm 5'8". I was towering over everybody. Now I'm like looking up. You know, they're all like 6'2", 6'3". They're massive.
But am I right that when you got spotted, you didn't particularly want to be a footballer?
No, I used to play in a football cage at the end of my road with the boys, and then there was a referee in the local area who was like, "There's a women's team, Arsenal, I really want to take you down." And I was like, "No, I'm totally fine." My mum had packed me a Capri Sun for a packed lunch that day. I was like, "I'm totally fine in this football cage." And she was like, "No, we are taking you." And then I got signed to Arsenal when I was 8. Yeah, really early on.
What is a football cage?
A football cage?
Yeah.
It was just literally like there was concrete, it was just nothing in there. But for me, it was everything. It's where all the dreams started. Literally, you had cars either side of this football cage, and if the ball went out, the car would come along and pop it, and that would be the end of playtime. See you tomorrow.
They should introduce that into professional football. I'd love that. Playing against a car.
I mean, my friends are so jealous that I'm getting to meet you because we just look at you as such an inspiration, like breaking through in such a male-dominated industry. You should be so proud of yourself.
You know what, and I love as well, because you've done so much with the US national team when they've won and you've brought them out on stage. And we see that over here and we're like, that is it. How incredible is that? So we know you've always been behind supporting other women and leading the way, so thank you.
That's amazing.